24 Atlantic brown nurse sharks are a little special. They belong to a pretty large group of sharks called carpet sharks. And all of these guys are equipped with specialized gill muscles that pump water into their mouths for them, of course, their mouth and their gills. So they don't necessarily need to keep swimming around to breathe. They can just sit in one place, use that gill muscle and keep breathing. That gill muscle is also what gave the nurse shark its nickname. Surface.
Wow, look at that big fish.
Usually when they come up to feed, they will use that gill muscle to force air and water in at the same time. So it creates a characteristic nursing or sucking sound. So that's why they were nicknamed the Atlantic brown nurse shark. Now nurse sharks do grow to be about 14 or 15 feet long. They do get relatively large. The largest one we have in here is about 11 feet. And these guys really are impressive. Nurse sharks aren't prone to unpredictable aggressive behavior. They're not grouped in that highly aggressive category. These guys are pretty docile. Unfortunately, though, they do account for about 30% of shark bites in this area. And most of that can be attributed to their docile nature. A lot of people feel pretty comfortable with the shark. And they will go up and mess around with them, pull them up out of the water just to get a photo with them. And even though these guys are prone to aggressive behavior, they're still sharks. These guys are pretty big and they're pretty fast. They have a bite that's clocked at about 92 milliseconds. Most sharks do take a full second to bite. These guys do it a lot faster. They also have an extremely powerful jaw muscle strength. Their mouth parts are meant more for crushing and pulverizing, say like opening lobster shells, crab shells, things like that. So they do exert a lot of pressure at one particular point. So the usual injuries that you associate nurse shark bites are along the lines of broken hands, broken bones, things like that. Nothing ever serious. No one's ever died from a nurse shark bite, but they do occur quite a lot of the time in this area. We do feed our sharks 3 times a day. They don't necessarily need to eat every day. These guys can actually go 3 to 4, even 5 days without eating. And they're actually pretty dependent on water temperature, which is one of the reasons we don't have that many sharks interested in food this afternoon. All sharks are cold-blooded, so when the water temperature is a little chilly, like it is today, it's about 66, 67 degrees. They aren't as metabolically active because they don't require as much food. A common question I do get asked here, usually when I have sharks feeding for my presentation, a lot of people wonder why the sharks aren't, going after the pelicans, or why don't they eat the other fish that they're kept with. And I don't exactly.
I'm like, my mom works at that. And they're like, oh, where? And I was like, oh, like, you know how like empty it is right now. So like this one family.
What's the reef aquarium show?
The divers will go into the reef and they'll feed the fish. It's pretty interesting to watch them.
We can do that. You want to wait over? This is your day.
Have a good day, you guys. It was nice to meet you. Have a nice day. You guys want to? Yeah, in a few minutes we'll have someone come out and explain the rules and talk about the animals in the pool, and then we'll give you the opportunity to participate. And then you could feed the sea lion. A lot of people don't like to touch the fish, they like to watch other people feed them. But,
They got to do one of those.
They live in here.
They live in here all the time, or?
No, not all the time. We have other animals in the back that do shows, and sometimes we switch them out. And here they just kind of hang out and relax, and some of them will do a show later. So they all have a chance to relax if they choose to, or if they're not feeling 100%, then they don't have to do anything they don't want to. Come out here and relax.
Welcome to Miami Seaquarium Seal and Lion Feeder Pool. My name is Casey, and in just a few moments we will be opening up our fish stand, giving you guys all the opportunity to feed our seals and sea lions. But before we can begin, there are a few important rules I'm going to cover for you guys, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about these animals that you see in front of you today. So many of our guests ask us what the differences are between seals and sea lions. Well, there are three simple ways to tell the difference between the two species. First, you will notice that sea lions, like the one right there, have external ear flaps while seals do not. And that's a seal right over there. They have just little pinholes on the side of their head for ears. Both species do, however, have excellent hearing, both above and below the water. Now, the second difference you guys will notice are that sea lions are uniform in color. That was a seal. Sea lions are uniform in color, while the seals have a patterned coat, like the one that just jumped up here. It's kind of spotted that noticed. And the third and final difference are that sea lions swim with their front flippers in an up and down motion, kind of like a bird, and seals swim with their rear flippers in a side-to-side motion. Sea lions are also capable of rotating their rear flippers, enabling them to walk on all four on land. Seals, however, bounce up and down on their bellies, much like a caterpillar to move on land. So now that I have shared with you guys the differences between seals and sea lions, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the seals you see in our feeder pool today. Pacific harbor seals can dive to depths as deep as 300 feet, and they can hold their breath for up to 30 minutes. That's why you might see a few of these seals kind of hanging out underwater for so long. They can also swim up to speeds as fast as 10 to 15 miles per hour. Female seals typically give birth to one pup per year, and they weigh about 20 pounds at birth. They are also able to give birth to them either on land or in the water. Seal pups are highly developed at birth, and therefore they can follow their mothers right away, whether they're in the land or on land or in the water. Now, many of our guests also ask us how we train our animals. Well, here at Miami Seaquarium, we use a method called positive reinforcement. That means we simply reinforce our animals for desired behavior and ignore the behavior that is undesired. We reinforce our animals to let them know that they have done something correctly. And we reinforce them with fish, toys, our water hoses, and simply our attention, to name a few. Now, before we can begin training, our trainers... Before we can begin training, our trainers spend months establishing relationships with these animals and getting to know them. One of our very first behaviors we train them are health and husbandry behaviors, which include voluntary physical examinations. This allows us to maintain their health. One of the most important behaviors we train them are recalls, which simply means they should respond to their name when called. I'd like to remind you guys of our next Sea Lion Golden Dome show, which starts at 4 o'clock in the Golden Dome behind me. All right, and now in just a few minutes, we're going to open up our fish stand. I'm just going to cover some rules that are really important for you guys from the safety view and as well as our animals. First, we ask that you do not extend anything through or past that silver railing in front of you. This includes your hands, arms, feet, legs, or any personal belongings that you might have with you today. If you guys do decide to feed, we ask that you drop the fish to these animals as they swim by. Please do not attempt to coax them up to you, feed them directly from your hand, or touch them. They are capable of jumping to the top railing